Thank you for joining us for our next Sweet and Sassy Show podcast, episode 16. Today, we are going to be talking about a higher power, universe, and a greater being, and how that applies to business and life, and a little bit about purpose. We're going to see where this one goes today. I have a few thoughts in mind, but we never know where it will go, but where it goes is always magical. Uh, LinkedIn business queen Molly Lowe is here with me. We put these out once a month by the second Friday of every month. I just attended one of Molly's events recently. It was great. Tons of value, tons of energy, and really fantastic people as well that were in attendance. So, all around massive value and super great stuff. One of the many amazing things that Molly Lowe does.
Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate just having people join live is like nothing other, right? And then the engagement, and you're absolutely right. Like attracts like. So I am always so grateful for the people in attendance. I really appreciate that.
And I like what you said there too. So like attracts like. What you ask for, you should ask exactly for what you want and put it into the universe. And that leads me to think about when we originally started this, one of the first things I said is that the universe brought Molly Lowe and I together, and we kind of started this a year ago. So it's super cool, super fun that we're still doing this, just taking a little bit of time together to have that creative space and bring value to the people who check out our videos, our podcast. So I am Jen Carpenter, Secure and Savvy Solutions, Mindflow Mastery Coaching, and PPLSI, Business Solutions and Employee Benefits. Bunch of different things that I do, but really my greatest passion is helping people be the best version of themselves, specifically more working with entrepreneurial parents who want to do all the things, be a provider, a partner, and a parent. It's a whole nother world. So that's kind of where Molly and I come from. We came from the corporate world, and we are both entrepreneurial parents. And so that's why we talk about some of these topics. Gratitude is your number one direct connection, your direct line of power to a greater being, to source. Gratitude, however you choose to incorporate it, is one of the greatest ways to have a deeper connection with yourself and getting more of what you want. When you think it, what you Google is what you get, what you think is what you get. And being grateful for the most simplest things every day is where really all of it starts. And however you want to incorporate that practice. I have a list by me that is top 10 things that I'm grateful for, literally walking, talking, thinking, speaking. There were times in my life where I was extremely ill and I couldn't even eat or walk up and down the stairs without being exhausted. So I'm super grateful for the simplest of things. When I've had my darkest times, I was super grateful and still am for food, water, shelter, and clothing. When you think about it, you're really lucky that you've got food, water, shelter, and clothing in the simplest forms. So that is one of the strongest ways to get more of what you want and attract more of what you want. So yeah, I keep that list printed up. It has my other affirmations as well. And however you want to incorporate it. Some people write them out every day for a period of time. I do have my clients do that, write out 80 to 100 things a day that you're grateful for. I'm grateful for this table. I am grateful for this laptop. I am grateful for this lamp, like literally all of the things. So that was where I wanted to start. Where do you want to go from there?
I
Gratitude.
love that. I love that. And that's such a great reminder because, to be honest, I was thinking about what should I put in my journal today? And I'm going to take that. It's been a minute since I've done the 100 things that I'm grateful for. So thank
Oh,
you for that. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. I think the last time I did that exercise was maybe 2 years ago.
oh my
And I
God.
forget, yeah, I forget how simple but yet super powerful that is to do that
Physically writing it
exercise.
out.
Yeah, 100%. I am a journaler all day long. That is like my way to just check in with myself. And so I'm going to take that challenge today and do it. It's actually, for me, more challenging than I think sometimes it can
Just
seem to
make
be.
it simple. Just make it simple. Literally, I am grateful for my eyes, my skin, my hair, my desk, my everything. Like that's literally because, like I said, my clients for the first at least 30 days write down 80 to 100 things handwritten every day. It's motor anchoring into your brain.
Yeah.
Like I said, I keep my list of 10, but I will go through every so often and write every single thing down as well. But that is, it's pretty intense and it's kind of tedious, but it gets easier as you go and it anchors your gratitude.
Oh, I believe it, and that's probably why it is so challenging for me is because I haven't done it so, as frequently, right? So there is no anchoring yet. So
I
thank
know.
you for unintentionally being able, like, here, let me just give you something today. That is
Excellent.
so divine, so
Excellent. Yes,
divine.
it
Yes,
is.
yes, it is. Yes, and on that note, when I thought about, okay, spirituality and what that means, and connecting with the source, the higher power. For me, I say God in the universe. That's what aligns with me. I really think about faith in the perspective of the strategy side is, well, let me do it the other way, right? Having faith, which is the spiritual side, and then the strategy side is doing faith. And I do believe that having faith and doing faith are two different things. And so one of the things that I say in my tagline all the time is I blend both business strategy with business spirituality. And if we're talking specifically about LinkedIn, right? Like, we can talk strategy all day long. Most people understand what that means when I say, "Oh, how are you leveraging LinkedIn to increase visibility, credibility, and influence," right? Like, what is your marketing strategy on LinkedIn? What's your sales strategy on LinkedIn? That makes sense. But as soon as I start saying, "Oh, and don't forget about the spiritual side of things on LinkedIn," they're like, "Wait, how do I do that?"
Yeah.
Right? And so I wanted to just elaborate a little bit about what we were talking about, like attracts like. And one of the ways that I incorporate both business spirituality with business strategy is specifically with outbound lead generation and what I teach specifically in my Catalyst community. Um, yes, it is important when you're doing outbound lead generation. This is the strategy side, right? Of knowing who your ideal client is, understanding how to leverage specific parts of LinkedIn to mine for leads, right? So some of my favorite places is the news feed, LinkedIn groups, even LinkedIn courses are really great places for you to mine for your ideal clients. And the business spirituality side of this is what I call follow the breadcrumbs, which is allowing for God in the universe to show you the profiles that you need to be seeing. What you seek, you find. And so you gotta first really be intentional about, okay, right now I'm gonna do lead gen and I'm gonna be seeking my ideal clients and this is who I'm looking for. And then taking the action to do it and allowing for God in the universe to show you who you need to see. And that is probably the most, my clients have said, Molly, most strategic strategy ever. But it works. And it's that part of understanding that like attracts like, understanding that God in the universe is always working for our good. And so if you're going to be intentional and you're going to dedicate time to do lead gen, just know that they're going to put the people that you need to meet in front of you. And so there is that component of, again, taking action, which is the business strategy side, the doing faith side, and then, of course, the business spirituality side of your beingness, calling in like attracts like, and knowing that it's all going to work out for you. You're going to meet the people you need to be meeting. So that was a lot.
It's totally great. Some of the 12 powers that I teach that 12 powers you hold within are faith and taking action. So when we talk about faith, it is pressing stop on your mind's negative chatter and not allowing those other things to get in your way of taking action. So, this goes into what I think about too is what are the costs and benefits of not taking action or choosing to take action. What's going to happen if I don't choose to take action? And also going back to the faith part, um, you summed everything up, so there isn't a ton more to say about it. But you really did, having the faith that I say this every time too, wherever you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. And if you know that you're taking the actions to the best of your ability, um, this goes to one of the things I talk about how I was raised too. Like, as long as you always do the best, you've always done the best that you can, that's good enough. And as long as you tried your hardest and took action, you know you did good enough. So, one way or another, keeping the faith and trusting and allowing, personally and professionally, I have seen the more that I chose to let go. If that could be one of the biggest pieces of advice, that if I could have let go more a year ago or 2 years ago, I would be further along than where I am now. And that's okay. It's okay that I'm not. But I think a really powerful piece of the faith is letting go and opening up and allowing to make space for more of what you want. There's little things that we can let go of that we don't need to have control of. There's probably a ton more than you think. It's all a balance of taking control and letting go of control where you don't need to have control. And that is really where things started to shift, like I was saying, personally and professionally. Instead of just forcing things and, yeah, being an actionable person. But as soon as I started to trust my intuition more, and as soon as I started opening up and allowing more, is really where everything really dramatically shifted. So if I could say to anybody, I would say learn to let go sooner than later, to make space for more of what you want and ask exactly for what you want. It really is that simple. Look for it, ask for it, visualize it, create it. Believe in it, have faith in it, know it, and then you will create and attract exactly what you want. Um, the power of knowing is universe and the law of action, the law of attraction, and gratitude. That's the power of knowing. These are like my most favorite things to talk about. I say all the time, believing is one thing, knowing is truth. Knowing is completely different than believing. You could say you believe all day about I believe I'm beautiful, believe I'm successful. You don't really freaking believe it until you know it. Knowing is 100% truth and real. Go ahead. Any other, where do you want to go with this next? I didn't have a ton of other things in mind, so.
I love it. In listening to what you shared, and of course, for our fellow parents out there who have children who love Disney, okay, it literally, now my brain thinks in analogies, right?
This is great. No, you're good at that. Yes, yes.
Hello, Ice Princess Elsa said it perfectly. Let
Uh-huh.
go. Let it go. Right now, no, I'm gonna spare everybody's ears from singing. However, it is, and I think that there's so much, like, I love Disney in so many different ways, but that, even thinking about what you said about that, right? Oh my gosh, it's so true. As soon as Elsa started to embrace her ice powers, right? And she's like, I'm just gonna build me this ice castle. I'm gonna live here. I'm not gonna be, ashamed of what it is that I have in my powers, and truly letting it go and just saying, I'm just gonna be me and do me, and whatever happens happens. Hello, we could glean a lot from that on how we go about personally, and of course how we build our businesses, how we are showing up authentically. Sometimes it just seems like we're trying so hard to do that, but really, like you said, really letting go of that control is just leaning into who we are authentically and making it easy, simple, and exciting, is what I always say. When you're able to do it from that perspective, then it makes sense when people say, oh, take aligned action. For a while, my business coach would tell me that. I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I want to take the right course of action. Like, tell me what I need to do. And she's like, no, no, no. I want for you to take aligned action. And I didn't understand what that meant, right? And that is a beautiful phrase to again reflect strategy and spirituality, co creation. Alignment means what? What feels intuitively aligned for you, what feels good for you spiritually, what feels good for you authentically, and then the aligned action is the doing. It's the strategy. It's the, we're not going to sit here and just hope and pray that things fall out of the sky into our lap. Like, it's initiation, it's invitation, and doing it in a way that just feels really aligned with you. So I love that you said that because it's so true.
I have children that are 8 and 9, and I didn't even think of Frozen Let It Go. I did not even, that did, and I know your children are older, so I just love that. You have said so many great things today. Um, I want you to keep going again because you've said so many great things. I was going to touch on one of the last things you said. Tell me what was one of the last things that you said.
Well, I was talking about aligned action was the last
Line
thing I
action
was
and
talking about.
strategy. That was
Yes,
the next
yes,
part.
yes.
So like reclaiming your identity is part of what I do. People don't even know what makes them happy anymore or what fills their buckets, whether that's personally or professionally. So yeah, aligned action, you need to explore what that means to you in order to be able to take aligned action. People don't even know what they want anymore. So, and when it comes to, um, teaching these things too. I was as a parent and an entrepreneur, being able to um teach your children the same kind of thing, to have faith and ask for what you want. Actually being like a child all the time. There's so many great reasons of why it's great to be like a child. They're curious, they ask questions, and they ask for exactly what they want. Um, Solidifying that more in decision making and the things you choose to do, where you choose to spend your time and energy too. That's the other piece of where I was going to go. It's all about where do you choose to spend. You just talked about this before we hopped on. You have another podcast that you decided to just kind of not pour as much energy into at this time. It's still there. There's plenty of value still out there. Um, and, it wasn't feeling good. It wasn't feeling right. So that actually totally, is related to what we were talking about too. There's little bits and pieces of where can you choose to let go? Sometimes you build all these things in a business and you're doing all the things. What tasks can you delegate out to somebody? What things can you start to let go of a little bit and be able to make more space for more of what you want? I say in your business, you should only focus on doing like the five things that you only want to do. Even for yourself in a day-to-day basis. What are the five things, the non-negotiables of only doing what you want to do? Um, Outsource the rest, ask for help with the rest, whatever you need to do to only do more of what you want to do. You can keep it super simple. It is possible. When people say simple, it doesn't mean that it's easy. That's totally different. Keeping things simple for yourself. I think of everything like in fives now, pretty much like the five things I don't want to do, the five things I want to do. My main five, like values, integrity, how I want to show up every day. Um, yeah, getting more clear on all of those things and only focusing on doing exactly what you want, asking for help, delegating, all of those things.
I love that. I love that. I love how our conversation is so well balanced in duality, right? And when you were saying that, my brain thinks in threes. Okay, so
Mhm.
everything is always in threes for me. I've got three kids,
There you
three
go.
dogs. Everything's in threes. Um, and I love that you said you got to know what you want, right? And so if we were to apply that same concept to strategy and spirituality, I think it's knowing what you want is the strategy side, because once you know what you want, the pathway and that clarity of this is okay, here's the end goal, and the how shows up for you when you know what you want. Now, the spiritual side is knowing who you are, knowing who you are presently, and knowing who you've been, and then who you're becoming. And that's the side of business spirituality that I love, right? It's the doing and the being. It's always the doing and the being. It's the strategy and the spirituality. It's the what do you want to who you are. Then that combines together, that becomes your North Star. So I love that you mentioned that as well, because I do agree that if you don't know what you want and you don't know who you are, you're going to be spinning your wheels in mud. And and let's be real, sometimes you're gonna have to spin your wheels a little bit to figure that out. And the sooner that you can honor and give yourself space to figure out who you are, what you want, your North Star will shine very brightly for you to be able to take the next step.
This ties into the what I wanted to end with kind of as purpose. So, um, it takes knowing who you are and what you want to take action. Um, Being able to identify a greater purpose, you talk about your why, all those things. whether it's your family or business, um, being able to I recently did like my more of a mission vision statement for my business. And when I really went through it, it evolved and it grew to a bigger purpose than I realized. I not only want to work with people more to help them be the best version of themselves and get more of what they want, but I'm for a greater impact want to have more of a community. It's more, not just, and I thought about it more with communities that I'm part of. Um, it's a greater, larger purpose and being to have a sense of community. So I kind of evolved my program a little bit, added some pieces that I realized that there was more to it than just what we're doing. You know what I mean? And so the other part you talked about is being and doing. Being and doing, it's about who you become in the process of the actions that you choose to take. You learn new things, you're going to fail, you're going to turn around, and it's just this constant evolving growth. Um, and you had part of what we talked about too is can your purpose change a little bit? I originally went into entrepreneurship for a financial purpose, like as a additional side income. I knew that I would eventually want to leave my healthcare career. Now it might just be I do 2 days a week in my healthcare career and build my business. Like it evolves and it changes. Um, depending on how it goes, that still may change. But like for now, I am where I am. It is right where you are is where you're supposed to be. So yeah, purpose and everything grows and evolves, and it's all about who you become in the process. I don't know if I didn't quote it correctly last time, but I usually quote it wrong. You can have more than you want because you can have more than who you become in the process. Um, Anything else you'd like to add today?
I will close us by saying full
Okay.
circle, it's the journey and the way that you are grateful for who you've been to who you are today to where you're going. That is the glue that keeps it all together. So it's all back to gratitude.
Yes, it is. Full circle. So thank you for joining us again here today. This was episode 16, and we'll have the next episode out by the second Friday of the next month. We talk about topics for parents and entrepreneurship. So if you've liked something that you learned today, leave us a comment below, please. And definitely connect with Molly Lowe and Jen Carpenter across all of our socials. Make sure you're following us on our YouTube channels and keep an eye out for our next episode. Thank you for stopping by.